Welcome, beautiful ladies and gentlemen, family. With the upcoming World Cup draw, let's build up some World Cup excitement. Let's bring up some World Cup hype. And in today's video, I wanted to say everything I know about the national teams that have so far qualified for the World Cup. Let's do this. First of all, you got America. America, ever since I've watched football, basically I started watching World Cup 2010. I remember 2010, they were in the same group as Algeria, knocked us out. Landon, Donovan. Then they went through to the secondary. I think they got knocked out immediately in round of 16. Couldn't remember who, because I think them and England went through. Slovenia went out. 2014, they made the cheeky run. Had a very good game against Belgium. Tim Howard having a masterclass. 2018, don't even remember US. Yes, they were in the same group as England, Iran, and Wales. Maybe they made it through. I don't remember entirely. And 2022, maybe that was the Iran group. Anyways, America has to do something big. I think I don't remember exactly, 1994 maybe, that World Cup was held in America, and I think America got a really strong position, probably their strongest position ever so far. And we've seen host nations overperform their expectations. So America, I think there should be some pressure and expectations. They recently beat Uruguay, I think 4-1 in the... Maybe it was just a friendly game. They have Mauricio Pochettino. Pulisic is looking insane in Serie A with AC Milan. And then you got some other players looking good as well. So I think US should be looking at a round of 16 quarterfinal-esque run in this World Cup run. Next up is Mexico. Always some of a dark horse. They're a tough team to beat, very passionate, play with a lot of passion. And once again, they're going to be one of the host nations for the upcoming World Cup. And again, huge pressure, huge expectation. The only thing with Mexico, they've had better teams. They've had better players like Chicharito, Prime Lozano. They've had better generations, Ochoa. And now it's going to be a new generation, obviously led potentially by Rodrigo Mora. Mexico obviously recently won the Gold Cup. I think they beat America in the final with... not Rodrigo Mora, something Mora. They call him the new Pedri, 17 years of age. He's absolutely cooking. So I think he's going to be, a standout player for this upcoming Mexico national team, where they're going to end up maybe a round of 16. As I said, there have been stronger Mexico teams. And last but not least, the host nation is Canada. I don't really know. I think they made the World Cup either for the first time or the first time in an extremely long time. Last time, they obviously got knocked out in the group stage. I remember Alphonso Davies missing a penalty, but Canada looked good. It was just they were playing with a lot of pressure, a lot of, not really expectations, but just a lot of pressure. First World Cup for a lot of players and so on. So I think they will be a little bit more comfortable this time and then make it a little bit tougher in the group stage. But again, they're a host nation. They could be overperforming, and that goes for Canada, Mexico, and America. I think they will be overperforming people's expectations now before the World Cup begins. Starting off with the other non-host nations, we have Japan. Japan, also another dark horse-ish team. I don't remember exactly where they finished in the recent Asian tournament, which I think it was Jordan and Qatar in the finals. And I don't remember Japan, maybe either quarters or semi. And they're looking good as usual. I mean, they have Koba. Everybody knows about Koba, but he was there for the previous World Cup. He's going to be better, more experienced and so on. Can't think of other Japanese players, I'm going to be honest. Next up is New Zealand. Not that much to say. I think they will be very glad to be here. I think this is the first time New Zealand has been in the World Cup since 2014. And 2014, they were cheeky. I think they went unbeaten in that group stage with Slovakia, Italy, and one more team. I don't remember exactly who, but they went unbeaten. I think they had 3 draws, like 1-1, 1-1, 1-1 or something. But again, I probably see them grouped this time around. But I have to see New Zealand back in the World Cup. And lastly, in the first row here, we got the Islamic Republic of Iran, as people like to call them. Iran always, one of the strong nations alongside Japan and Australia in the Asian tournaments. And they will be looking to do something here. I think they were one of the first nations to qualify for the 2026 World Cup. Obviously, there is some off-the-pitch drama with, obviously, Iran having the national team ban. Iranians having a travel ban to America, so maybe there's going to be no Iran supporters. There's even been some problems with Iranian players, Iranian staff members not potentially being able to go to America, to go to the World Cup. Hopefully, all of that gets fixed. It's absolutely disgusting what Donald Trump and America are doing. I've never seen a host nation organization of a World Cup disrespects, its participants and participants this much. Iran, obviously, they've been consistent in the World Cup, maybe because the Asian qualifiers are a little bit easy. I remember 2014 they got grouped. I remember Messi scoring a banger against them. 2018 they got grouped. They were with Portugal, Spain, and Morocco. And then 2022 they got grouped once again. So maybe they're looking to do something better. Maybe Iran in America will, I don't know, feel me against you, the world mentality, and do better than usual. So interesting shout for Iran there. Now we have one of the favorites coming up, Argentina. How do I feel about Argentina? It's quite clear they have gotten a little bit weaker since 2022. Lionel Messi is not the same player. I see some people say, oh, Argentina are favorites because they got Messi. Yes, Messi. But it's clear Messi is not the same player. We saw that at the Copa America. The two best players for Argentina was Lautaro Martinez, the top goal scorer in the tournament, and Emiliano Martinez, the best goalkeeper in that tournament. And I think those two will be able to take Argentina far. I don't remember why I didn't hear Alvarez that much at that Copa America. Maybe he was injured or something, but Julian Alvarez is going to be a strong player. They have Enzo Fernandez. They have a very strong team. But you got to look at that World Cup squad. Messi's got a little bit worse. Di Maria has retired. De Paul playing in Inter Miami. Di Maria was absolutely huge, especially in that World Cup final. And I think he will be a big miss as well for Argentina. So when it comes to Argentina, I'm looking at quarterfinals, semifinals, but I just don't see them winning it. I don't see them reaching the final. And if they make the semi, they will have a little bit of a fortune way up until the final. Next up, it's semifinal. Next up is Uzbekistan. First time ever qualifying for the World Cup. Obviously, this World Cup is the first World Cup with extended places going from around 24 places to I think 36 or something places. So happy to see Uzbekistan. They were also one of the earliest qualifiers from Asia to this World Cup. So happy to see them here. Grouped. South Korea. I don't know. I just see constant similarities between them and Japan. Always, a little bit of a tough side to beat in these competitions. I don't know if Heung-min Son will play there. He's been very good with LAFC recently. You got Kang Lee winning Asian Player of the Year as well with Paris Saint-Germain. He's going to come in there with a lot of confidence. The only issue with Kang Lee doesn't get as much minutes as you would hope. He could be a starter for most best teams in Europe. Not the best, but a bit lower than that. He could be a starter for. So maybe that could potentially compensate for them. But South Korea, I'm looking at round of 16, basically. We got Jordan. I haven't heard if this is their first time. Could potentially be their first time in a World Cup. If not, they maybe made it in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s or something. They obviously made, as I mentioned, the Asian final. So they can be a very strong team or get grouped. I think they will be a very passionate nation, but grouped, I'm feeling. Australia next up, another Asian team here. We're basically going through all the Asian teams. And Australia, I don't know, man. They did go through into round of 16. I think they were in the same groups as just France, Denmark, and someone else, but they obviously got knocked out by Lionel Messi in that round of 16 time. Huge goal by Lionel Andres Messi. Make it tough in the group. Furthest round of 16. Next up is Brazil, and I do not consider them to be one of the favorites, one of the top four. Not even top 5 favorites. I think it's a very European-dominated favorites for the World Cup this time. Brazil, they can obviously get so much better in this time, even though they're not going to be playing international games and everything. Ancelotti being the manager, maybe their players performing better. Endrick getting that loan from Madrid to Lyon, Rodrigo maybe leaving Madrid and so on, can lead to better individual stuff. Then we have Neymar Jr. I don't see him making the World Cup for 2 reasons. I think Ancelotti will want to affirm his strong position as the Brazil manager, and then I don't think he's physically ready to be playing at a World Cup. Even though it's only 7 games with great intensity and so on, I just don't think he will make it, unfortunately. Brazil, similar to Argentina, honestly. I'm looking at quarterfinal, maximum semi-final. Could even be a round of 16 if it goes really bad for Brazil. But it's a huge World Cup for Vinicius Jr. He was obviously there in 2022, but Neymar was there. This time, it will be Vini. Nobody will help him out, and we'll see if Vini can actually lead Brazil to something. Next up is Ecuador. definitely has to be my dark horse going into this World Cup. Finished second in the CONMEBOL World Cup qualifiers. They got Bacho, they got Valencia still playing as the striker. They have Hincapie, Odriozola or something. They got Caicedo, obviously. So Ecuador will be a very good team. I was some of a supporter of Ecuador in the 22 World Cup. I watched all of their 3 games versus Qatar, the Netherlands, and someone else, and they were really good in that group stage. Just unfortunate moments went against them, and so on. And you know, it was either their first World Cup ever or one of the first in a very long time. I haven't seen Ecuador before that in the World Cup, so maybe it was that pressure and everything. But Ecuador, honestly, I'm looking all the way up to quarterfinals. They can be a very tough team. And I think they will surprise many people that are not rating them. So I think Ecuador are my dark horse going into this World Cup. Next up is Uruguay. A bit similar there in terms of dark horse. They're usually a tough team to beat in the World Cup. And obviously this will be the first time it will be basically past Cavani and Luis Suarez in Uruguay. Firmly led by Darwin Núñez in attack, Ronald Araujo in the back, and Federico Valverde in that midfield. I think maybe even Muslera potentially has retired from the Uruguayan national team. So a complete generation shift for the Uruguayan national team. I'm thinking like round of 16, a little bit of a week here once again for Uruguay, and let's see how well they can start preparing going into the future. Next up is Paraguay. Remember them from the 2010 World Cup, I think. That cheeky game versus Spain. Very close to knocking Spain out early on in their World Cup. I don't know that much about Paraguay, let's be honest. I know about one talisman from Paraguay. What was his name? Cruz or something? Cardoza. Was he Paraguayan? I think so, yeah. The striker for Benfica. Apart from that, don't know anything. Probably grouped. Next up is Colombia, another team from South America. There's going to be a strong contender. They got Luis Diaz, they got Munoz. Maybe James will still be playing. I don't exactly know. He had a really good Copa America. And I mean, Colombia went all the way to the Copa America final. So they will be a good nation going into this tournament. And I'm sensing around round of 16 quarterfinals for them. Next up is Morocco. Obviously, Morocco did historical stuff, becoming the African team that went the furthest in a World Cup history, going all the way into the semi-final. And I think that's a great thing for all Africans and all Arabs going into future World Cups. That Morocco team will give them confidence. They will be sitting there in the dressing room and tell themselves, if Morocco can do it, we can do it too. So I think it's a great inspiration story for all Africans and all Arabs when it comes to Morocco. Their under-17 team obviously won the under-17 or under-20 World Cup versus Argentina in the final. So the Morocco, they're going through a golden generation, and the future is just looking really great in Morocco. Honestly, we got to give them the respect. I'm looking at around quarterfinal, potentially at least, depending on how well they do. We obviously have the AFCON, which will give us a good picture of how great these African teams are going into the World Cup. But so far, Morocco look like, a potential dark horse in the World Cup. Next up is Tunisia. I even talked to that Tunisian Barca supporter, and he told me, they've been better Tunisian teams. Probably grouped. No, they will get grouped. But happy to see Tunisia participating. Next up is Egypt. A bit similar there, just a weak Egypt side. They have washed Salah. They have Marmoush, who's barely playing any time at City. I think just going to be a participation for Egypt. I'm going to be honest. Next up is Algeria, my home nation. Very happy that Algeria finally back in the World Cup for the first time since 2014. 12 years after we last participated. And we were really interesting, giving Germany their toughest game of that entire World Cup as well. But honestly, we have gotten grouped in our last 2 AFCON tournaments. We haven't made the World Cup since 2013. Let's see how we do this AFCON coming up now in December. We have a really talented squad, but we've been underperforming for a very long time. Basically, ever since we won AFCON in 2019. So, at the moment, I'm going to say grouped. But let's hope for the best. Next up is Ghana. Honestly, I have nothing to say. They got Inaki Williams. They used to have Essien. They used to have Seli Montari. And I remember the Ghana team from 2010, man. I watched that Ghana-Uruguay game supporting my African brothers. And it hurt when Asamoah Gyan missed that pen ball. Game is game. Suarez played the game and won, and Asamoah Gyan lost, unfortunately. They were obviously in the 22 World Cup as well, in the group with Portugal, Uruguay, and again, someone else. and they were meaty. So, grouped. Cabo Verde have been a very interesting team. Their first World Cup ever as well. I think they made a deep-ish run. The last AFCON going like quarterfinals time. They'll be one of the, I guess, strong-ish African nations going into the World Cup. I'm sensing grouped. Next up is South Africa. Again, don't know too much about South Africa. I think basically their entire starting 11 players are of local players playing in the South African League. So I don't know exactly how they're going to be competing at this World Cup, but I think they're going to be grouped. Qatar is next up, their second consecutive World Cup. First one hosting it, getting a little bit of that pressure off. Now second World Cup they're going to be part of here. Let's see how they do, but I think they will get grouped again. Next up is England. Let's finally talk about one other favorite going into this World Cup. I think England, we gotta respect them. 2018, make the World Cup semi-final. 2021, make the Euros final. 2022, make the World Cup quarterfinal, but lose to France, the eventual winners. And then in the recent Euros, obviously made the final. So 2 Euros finals consecutively, and then very good World Cup runs as well. And it's like they've just been building up. They finally got the missing piece, which was Thomas Tuchel. I saw England in their World Cup qualifier. I think they scored like 20 goals, conceded 0 or something crazy like that. They're basically Arsenal of national team football. They've always been about defensive cohesiveness, be defensively good, be defensively great, and then hope for the best offensively. And I think England are going to be very strong and very tough to beat at this World Cup. And actually, my prediction, I had Portugal, England World Cup final to be played. So I have high hopes for England going into this tournament. Me personally, maybe I wouldn't want the best for England because, I mean, their fans would be... And I just don't like overall English supporters, whether club supporters living in England or national team, they're not the best. They're very toxic and so on. So I wouldn't want the best for England, but teams got to look out for England. Tough team going into this World Cup. Next up is Saudi Arabia. They were obviously in the recent World Cup, beat Argentina's Messi in the first game, then battled it in the 2 second consecutive games. Just got too much hype after that first game. They were looking to be interesting in this World Cup, but once again, I'm sensing grouped. Ivory Coast, again, grouped. Can't think of that many strong players. I think Gusand is probably their strongest player, Ivory Coast. Yeah. Senegal, again, they're past their golden generation. It has gone past them. Again, for the African teams, I would absolutely love the best, and I absolutely would love the African teams to go far in the competition, but teams are going through generation shifts and all of that, and I think Senegal, they have the experience, though. That's the thing Senegal have on their hands, so maybe a round of 16. Exit. Next up is France, one of the favorites. Once again, France going into this World Cup, and I talked about England consistency. France is even more. 2016 Euro final, 2018 World Cup victory, 2021 a little bit of an embarrassing, I think, round of 16 exit to Switzerland. Then you got 2022 final and 2024 semi-final, losing against Spain, the eventual winners. So France, as usual, they're going to be one of the favorites going into this World Cup. Kylian Mbappe, let's see how Ousmane Dembélé returns. Will Deschamps be able to fix up the defense and the midfield going into this tournament? What new players will go into the team? Maybe Warren Zaïre-Emery continues his great form and is a starter for France. Yeah, one of the favorites. What more can I say? Croatia is there, and I do think their luck has ended. Their golden generation, it's fully out. Obviously in the World Cup, they did reach the quarterfinal, losing to... Was it semi? No, they made it all the way to the semi, losing to Argentina and then winning the third place playoff game versus Morocco. Yeah, so I think Croatia is going to go very strongly into this... no, I don't think so. I think their golden generation is over. I saw them losing to France in that Nations League game. I'm trying to remember what happened to Croatia in the World Cup. I mean, they nearly got grouped. I think they went through as best third place. So, yeah, the Croatia golden generation is finally over. I think they're still going to make it out of the group. Could get grouped, but I'm saying round of 16 exit. Next up is Portugal. My favorites going into this World Cup. I think they're coming in with great confidence, with great improvement over the past years ever since Roberto Martinez has come in. And just as he had the golden generation with Belgium, he has a golden generation with Portugal. And Portugal have a great team. I mean, you look at the Paris Saint-Germain players. You got Vitinha, you got João Neves, you got Nuno Mendes, you got Cristiano up top, you got Diego Costa, you got Inacio, you got Diaz, you got João Felix looking good at Al Nassr, you got Rafael Leao. So I think Portugal have a great mixture of experience, new young hybrid talents, hungry, wanting to win trophies. They recently won the Nations League. My favorites going into this tournament. Norway is next up. First World Cup ever, or like first World Cup in like 50 years time. Erling Braut Haaland, finally will be able to see him at a World Cup. And yeah, as a Swede, I hope the best for Norway, and I think they will make a cheeky run. Could be a tough team to beat, playing that 4-4-2 defensive with Haaland and Sørloth and Nusa and Ødegaard. Round of 16 at least. Next up is Germany. Man, Germany has fallen off so much. I think Germany are probably the most consistent national team side alongside, Brazil and Italy for the majority of World Cups. But they've fallen off so much since winning it in 2014. Basically selling their souls. 2018 grouped, 2022 grouped. They can't get grouped again. It just can't happen. Well, even if they make out of the group, they're not going to go that far. They were really strong at the Euros. They were basically as strong as Spain in that Euros campaign. But in the qualifiers, in the Nations League, I saw them versus Portugal. I just don't know. And a lot of it is similar problems to Italy. The players coming through the academy just aren't as good as they used to be. The German core, the German talents just aren't as good as they used to be. So I'm thinking of round of 16 quarterfinals. Next up is Netherlands. Don't really know how I would say with Netherlands. I think they're looking strong going into this World Cup. They have a good team. They have experience. Obviously, they didn't make the 2018 World Cup, I think. But since then, 2022, they made it. And they're here. Who did they face in the Euros? They faced England. I think they took the lead through Xavi Simons. And then England came back and won the game 2-1. Yeah, that's where Watkins scored a great goal, by the way. So I think Netherlands will be just as a tough of a team, similarly to how they were in 2022 with Argentina, the eventual winners, beating them on penalties. So I'm thinking like quarterfinals for Netherlands. Next up is Belgium. Their golden generation is obviously, it's gone. It was gone in 2022. But they're having a new generation, some new talents coming up, led potentially by Doku. It's going to be interesting what they could do about. Yeah, another weakish year for Belgium, thinking around round of 16. Next up is Austria. They'll be one of those cheeky European teams. But again, don't see them going anywhere. Maximum group stage, if not round of 16. Next up is Switzerland. A bit similar with them. Switzerland, they're a very experienced team. I've seen them in basically every single World Cup and every single Euros that I've watched. And once again, round of 16-ish. That's what I'm sensing with Switzerland. Next up is Spain. The last favorite to take a look at going into this World Cup, winning the Euros recently. I do think a bit similar to Argentina, they have dropped off a little bit when you saw them in the Nations League lose to Portugal. Obviously, when you look at their starting 11 at that Euros, Morata, not a starter anymore. Carvajal, washed. Rodri, washed. You still got Nico, you still got Yamal, you still got Pedri, you still got Fabian Ruiz, you got Zubimendi now at Arsenal, you got Cucurella as the left back. I think Unai Simon needs to be changed as well to either David Raya or Juan Garcia, but it's potentially already too late for De La Fuente to do that. One of the favorites going into this World Cup. And now, before we go into the Lost Nations, my favorites, if you guys haven't, you can go and watch my video on it, but yeah, you know what? You can go and watch my videos on the World Cup favorites. Finishing off with Scotland making the World Cup for the first time in a very long time. Let's see what Scott McTominay, can do for Scotland in this upcoming tournament. Panama, first time ever making this World Cup, grouped. Scotland as well, grouped. Haiti, first time ever making World Cup, grouped. And Curacao, first time ever making the World Cup, grouped. And obviously there's still 6 allocated spots that will be filled in around March when the qualifiers will be played. But that finishes off the video with my thoughts on every single nation that have qualified for the World Cup so far. Make sure to watch some other World Cup content that I've been posting in the past couple of days, and I will be live for the upcoming World Cup draw on Friday. Make sure to be there. That's been it from boy PSGINT. Hopefully guys have enjoyed this video, and as usual, allez Paris.